as leader. The news I have is a sad one. Late last night, ex-councillor Harvey Rose passed away. He was a councillor for 20 years in the borough, and many people will know who attend cabinets, whether it's officers or fellow councillors. He attended probably as many cabinet meetings as many cabinet members himself. So I just wanted to put that on record, please.
And I'm sure he would have made such remarks in the council chamber too. And I'm sure at the next annual council meet, at the next full council meeting, we'll have the opportunity to say perhaps a few more words about that too. Moving to the formal agenda, apologies for absence.
Councillor Costigan.
So Councillor Costigan gives apologies. There are no urgent matters. There are matters that do have associated gold papers that would be considered would be considered confidentially. So I'd ask that if any member wishes to refer to the gold papers, that they give advance notice. Before that happens, are there any declarations of interest? No. I turn to Councillors Mahfouz and Anand for the minutes of the last meeting. Agreed. No appointments to subcommittees or outside bodies at this point. So immediately we go to item number 7, award for contracts, asbestos. Councillor Wall.
Is that on now? Yeah, thank you. This is just the award for contracts for asbestos throughout the council's portfolio in education, facilities management, corporate and across the council housing stock. We have at the moment interim contracts that have been in place for 18 months, which come to an end on the 31st of August, and with no option to extend them. These were already providing improved financial and quality benefits. So I'm asking Cabinet to authorise the award of 4-year contracts now, beginning from the 1st of July, which were awarded on an open tender procurement process. They're driven by best value. They offer material reduction in rates in some areas up to 66%. Yes, it's ensuring that the council can continue to fulfil its legal and regulatory obligations as a landlord. So asking for Cabinet's approval, please.
Thank you very much. I don't believe I have any indications to speak, so the recommendations are at the front of the report. Was Cabinet content to proceed?
Agreed.
Okay. Item number 8, award of contracts for Health Watch and Carer Support Services. Councillor Blacker.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, it's just to invite tenders and evaluate tenders to re-procure the Health Watch and a Carer Support Service. We have them ready and they're statutory functions, so we need to carry on providing them beyond March 2022.
Again, I don't have any requests to speak, so is Cabinet happy to proceed on the recommendations? Agreed. Thank you. Item number 9, Fielding Primary School ARP Contract Award. Councillor Nagpal.
Thank you, Chair. The report seeks approval to award a contract for the construction of facilities for additional resource provision at Fielding Primary School for children with an education, health and care plan. Following consultation in 2020, Cabinet approved statutory proposals in January 2021 for the opening of an ARP at Fielding Primary School and authorised the invitation and evaluation of tenders. Following completion of the tender process, Cabinet is asked to approve the award of the contract to Francis Construction Limited in the sum of 1.36 million. This will be funded from the existing approved school SEN expansion programme. Thank you.
Similar to before, the recommendations are in the front of the report. I don't have any requests to speak, so are we agreed? Item number 10, Housing Estate Regeneration Projects Update. Councillor Wall.
Thank you. This report provides an update on the regeneration throughout all the regeneration project estates. It just asks us to note the updates really for most of them. There's 2 main items. One relating to the Golf Links estate, which is to authorise the Director of Place to hold a ballot, which we haven't done up to now. So we hope that the ballot will come next spring, and then that will enable works to complete on the estate the following year, and that will qualify for the funding from the GLA. The report also asks us to note that in phase 7, which is the last phase of the Copley Close regeneration, there are problems with the finances, again, stemming from the changes to GLA funding. So the officers are looking at options, and that's where we are at the moment. So there's no decision particularly to be taken on that part, but just to note that options are being looked at.
Thank you very much. And again, no request to speak, but just to say, do commend the report. It does give us the guarantee of the estate ballot, which has been sort of a consistent position of the administration, and that certainly will continue. So, Councillor Wall, thank you very much. The recommendations are in the front of the report. Are we happy to proceed? Okay, and then item number 11, Council Performance Report, Councillor Donnelly.
Thank you, Chair. This is one of the most frequently tabled reports before Cabinet, coming every quarter. As ever, asked to note the contents and progress against the Council Plan performance indicators. But as has been the case in recent reports with COVID, quite a number of our performance indicators have not been able to be generated because of resource issues, and our ability to perform in the normal way against a number of the others has been significantly impacted by COVID. Nonetheless, the report is before Cabinet to note. I mean, clearly this time next year, we'll be looking back at this report and looking at its shortcomings as a way of indicating progress, but we'll just have to get on with it.
I have a request to speak from both Councillors Malcolm and Stafford, so I shall give Councillor Stafford the opportunity to go first.
Thank you very much, new leader, and welcome to you and your cabinet. Isn't it nice to be back meeting face to face again? It's great to see you all, even behind your masks. And can I also express our condolences to the Lib Dem group on the death of former Councillor Harvey Rose, who will be sadly missed. On this report, just a few questions. Unsurprisingly, household waste, the recycling is down. The report notes that this is probably due to lockdown and therefore residual waste has increased, which on a superficial level seems reasonable until you think about it that it's actually a percentage we're talking about here. So why is it that the percentage has gone down? Are people being at home means they're using more non-recyclable products? It'd be interesting to understand why that would be. You'd expect an increase in all forms of waste being at home, but why is it that the residual waste has gone up or gone down? Sorry, the residual waste has gone up and the recyclables have gone down as a percentage. And on that, given of course the new leader's seeming willingness to overturn many of the decisions that the former leader made, will he commit tonight to keeping Acton Dump open? That would go down very well with residents in the east of the borough. The second part of the question is on graffiti. Again, given that we've all been locked down for a year, can we explain why graffiti is not being removed as quickly as possible? In fact, it's down quite considerably, the percentage of graffiti-free streets, why that's gone down. Then on to leisure. Clearly, obviously, leisure is down because they've been, this is leisure centres, sorry, leisure centres have gone down, clearly because they've been closed over COVID. But I just offer this as an opportunity to ask the new portfolio holder what the plan is for the Gurnell swimming pool going forward, given the fact that the previous proposal was rejected quite rightly by the planning committee. I think people in that area and people users of Gurnell would really welcome some kind of update this evening on that. And finally, on the genuinely affordable homes, I don't really understand why there's no comparable figure to last year. We just don't have the figures from last year. Can someone explain to me why we don't have a comparable figure to last year, please? And because I know you don't like giving the actually completed homes in the report, I tried this at work, actually. I said to my boss, he said to me, where is the report that you promised was going to be delivered last week? I said, well, I've started it, so that's okay. But most residents would think that wasn't very acceptable. So what are the actual completion figures for genuinely affordable homes up to the end of the report period, please?
So, I mean, I'll bring people in turn, but Councillor Stafford, you know full well, and you and I have sat in this room together on numerous occasions, what this report is. And I'm sure you know full well that there is a quarterly report on genuinely affordable homes that comes to Cabinet with the degree of detail that I think that you would wish for. And it is not the business of the administration to make policy announcements in the middle of a Cabinet meeting that takes the agenda that is in front of it. So I'm sure as you have enjoyed the announcements of last week, you will have further announcements in due course. But I'm conscious that Councillor Costigan is not here. Councillor Donnelly, do you want to take the household waste question, or should we bring in Mr. Alderson?
Well, I don't think I can add to what's in the report in terms of speculation, Chair.
Gary, would you like to speculate on people's waste usage during lockdown?
Thank you, Chair. I would state the fact that the amount of residual waste tonnage increased more than the tonnage of recycling. So the overall waste horizons increased, but it was more residual than recycling, and therefore the percentage goes down a little bit. And it's not an unusual pattern, it's sort of reflected across London. Thank you, Chair.
You know, I'm not sure I'm going to bring you back in, Councillor Stafford, because, you know, the answer here would be to sort of go through your bins and figure out as much of what your waste. Well, indeed. So I think we're there. Graffiti, Gary, do you want to perhaps comment on that as well?
I think the important thing to note is that the speed with which graffiti is removed, once it is spotted or reported, continues to be at a high standard and within the contract specification. So there's no reduction in performance by Green Ealing Limited. There has been an increase in graffiti, and we've analysed the last 5 years' figures across 5 different councils, and it really does vary from one year to the next with no particular pattern. So again, we'd be speculating as to why that is. The reassurance is that when it is spotted, it is removed promptly. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Malcolm.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of the items have been answered. I've got a couple of questions relating to graffiti. There is indeed what appears to be an increase in graffiti, which I think Mr. Alderson has said. However, what I've seen recently in the past 6 months or 9 months is an observation that when you report it using the app or otherwise, that same graffiti is not removed for whatever reason. And I think there may be a problem where some types of graffiti are not removed for whatever reason. They don't appear to be any different than any other graffiti. And there's one on the avenue near a bus stop, which I've reported, I think, 3 times, and it's still there for whatever reason now. My second question relates to domestic abuse. There is an indicator there that relates to the serious injuries that are alongside that crime. Can I ask what is the council doing on that? Because domestic abuse with injury is obviously a very serious form of that, but there is a huge amount in lockdown where the increases have gone up. What is the council doing on that? Because I'm concerned that there's a lot of issues that have been dealt with in lockdown, and some of those are leading to domestic abuse.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Malcolm. I mean, in terms of the first comment, I think, you know, you have as good as an answer as we're going to be able to provide to you this evening. And I think we could certainly sort of take that offline in terms of giving you further information on specific instances. Of course, you know, I appreciate that something might not have come down for 3 occasions, but let's look into those on a case-by-case basis. I'll say, I think before I bring in, I'll bring in Judith Finlay. Violence against women and girls is a particular focus of the administration, and that is why we have a new cabinet member for tackling inequalities in the form of Councillor Raza. We absolutely know and appreciate and understand the significant challenge that has been faced during lockdown because of lockdown conditions, and I think you know, we absolutely understand that, and we have done, I believe, a significant amount of work to mitigate. Judith, do you want to come in specifically on that in terms of where the initiative is?
Thank you. You're quite right, Councillor Mason. We are experiencing an increase in domestic violence and domestic abuse arising probably from experiences in lockdown, financial uncertainty, more pressure on families, and mental health challenges. We're seeing that both for adults and for children when we're working closely through Safe Rail Partnership to achieve better outcomes for those families. So thank you. We'll keep progress closely monitored.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we're good. So if you could, and just to reiterate Councillor Donnelly's point, you know, we are clearly in a stage of pandemic, and that will continue for a considerable period of time. And from the new administration would say to our team that they have done an incredible job to take us through what has been an incredibly difficult time, in which local government has been asked to do things that it has hitherto never been asked to do, and our team have done it with good grace compassion and with a degree of stoicism that we would rightly expect. And they've gone above and beyond the call of duty in many, many circumstances. So when we get back to a state of normality, when we have increased our ability to deliver vaccinations, the lockdown has fully lifted and we are back to normal, one would hope and expect that our performance would bear fruit. But we, of course, are in a continued pandemic and lockdown scenario. So the figures that you see in front of you will be what they are. So can we note the report? Great, thank you. Some housekeeping. So the date of the next meeting, because of the Cabinet has taken the decision to move Cabinet meetings to Wednesday. That is a reflection of agreement between Cabinet to respect and honour the caring and the caring responsibilities of people who are on the committee. So going forward, we will move those meetings to Wednesdays. We will, of course, send that information to all councillors so that they can update their diaries accordingly. I believe we're done. So we will update you in terms of the date of the next meeting. But until then, thank you very much.